Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. This is the first installment of 3 in 9 where I attempt to give you 3 movie reviews for 3 movies in 9 minutes. And since I am on a time crunch, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. Today we are going to be discussing the movies Pig, Old, and Jungle Cruise. Let's get to it. Pig stars Nicolas Cage, a bearded, ratted, clothed recluse living deep in the Oregon woods with his pet pig. And out of nowhere, people break into his home and steal his pig. This upsets him dearly. He loves that pig. It's currently the only thing he cares about. This sets Cage's character onto a journey back into his past where he's forced to confront former friends, former foes, and former wounds that haven't quite healed yet. I walked into the theater thinking this was a movie about some loner who's like learning lessons in the woods about the woods or something like that. Like kind of this really heavy fractured family drama, kind of like Winter's Bone. Boy, was I happily mistaken. This movie contains it all. Fighting, fancy cars, cuisine. It's heartbreaking, it's funny, it pierces you right where you want to be hit in the relatable bone. This movie doesn't answer every question about Cage's character, and it doesn't need to. You kind of can imagine what went wrong in his life that kind of caused Cage to burn every bridge he had in his previous lifetime. And this isn't really a film about reconciliation. Cage's character has already made up his mind. He has no desire to return to the old world with his old acquaintances. There is no bridge mending happening here. He is brazenly clambering through the discarded bridge pieces to get his pig back. It's a really, really great movie. Nicolas Cage absolutely shines here. The movie is for him and the camera loves him. It seems clear that Cage really understands his character on a nuclear level. There's this really great scene where Cage beautifully and slowly and methodically chews on a scene where he breaks down a chef of this like ridiculous upscale restaurant, revealing to the audience how little fame and self-glory did for his character at the end of the day. The cinematography is also really wonderful. You can't go wrong capturing beautiful Oregon woodlands. It's really gorgeous to watch. And actually, when thinking back to how the film was shot, the first word that comes to mind is sterile outside of like the woodlands. The camera really does a great job showing how empty and deceptively pristine Cage's old trappings used to be. But yeah, it's a really great film. Please see this film. I highly recommend it. Cage really brings it, and also keep some tissues nearby. Up next, we have Old. M. Night Shyamalan's latest thriller follows several vacationers who are coaxed into spending a day on this private beach. But we soon find out that this beach rapidly ages everybody who visits it, and there's no way out. Creepy. I saw The Sixth Sense once as a child, and I really don't remember it at all, and I was way too young to watch it. His stuff really isn't my lane because I don't like horror. And though I don't know his movies, I've kind of heard all the common critiques about his stuff. You know, dialogue that you don't really buy, scripts with crater-wide plot holes in it, you know, the movie's message staring you in the face to make sure that you get it, and the 11th hour plot twist that is more silly than clever. And unfortunately, kind of all those missteps are here in this movie. There are Chekhov's guns all over the place that the characters are practically tripping on them. And the characters' lines are a little bit flat and predictable. Like literally the line, "There's something wrong with this beach," is said, and it doesn't need to be said. We fully understand there's something wrong with the beach. The characters also painstakingly roll out the message that we should take away from it, when again the audience will catch it on their own. Why beat it into them? And the plot twist honestly was just like a big eye roll. I so wish that the reveal was something else. I will say though, there is one truly horrifying scene of somebody dying that is just shot so well and rolled out so well. Like it's so clear that the director really knows how to film a scene and how to move his camera. And I also really did enjoy the questions that arise from this premise. If your life flashed before your eyes, what would you change? What would you say? How would you make different choices? I would not recommend paying money to go see this movie in a movie theater, but if it's a Friday night, you're on the couch and you're bored and it's playing on TV, I'd say give it a try. Exhaust all your other options first. And finally, we have Jungle Cruise. This film stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Frank. He's a cash-strapped boat skipper who gives tourists a ride on a fake safari to make money. And he meets Emily Blunt's character Lily, who is a very wealthy explorer who persuades him to take her to this faraway land to retrieve some magical item from a magical tree called the Tree of Life. It's just kind of this really convoluted plot, honestly. And, you know, there are moments of the movie that capture the former whimsical glory of Disney. Emily and Dwayne are charming as ever, and they're fully game to play these kind of larger than life characters running around jungles and fighting villains. And some of the fight sequences are actually really, really exciting, and they remind you of the ride, which sucks because you realize you kind of don't need any of the characters around. It's just as exciting to pretend that you yourself are on the actual Jungle Cruise ride. However, I really don't see the artistic merit of making this movie. This film, of course, is based on the Disney World ride, Jungle Cruise, and they certainly, you know, branch it out to make it a heavier, you know, more substantial film, but it really did feel one-dimensional most of the time. There is a carousel of characters played by really interesting actors that honestly deserve better material than this. Actors like Jesse Plemons, Paul Giamatti, Edgar Ramirez, and there was also a moment involving some natives that kind of teetered on the insensitive racist line. I didn't really care for that scene. I do feel that this is another movie that's pretty skippable. There are plenty of other, you know, kid-friendly movies filled with adventure and really great characters where you really won't miss this one if you skip it. And that is the Mondesir critique. I'll see you guys later.